on to Football Bloody Hell.
Loyal.
I feel like me and Gary texted each other last night and we knew we were going to do a pod this week, which is the idea. We want to do them weekly when we can. But we texted each other last night after a shambles of a performance from the team that Gary's wearing the shirt of. Not the one that I'm wearing of, because obviously they're quite solid. But and we just thought, yeah, let's fucking do it now. I think pretty much this pod is going to be... We're going to touch on the Euros a bit, mainly how horrendous England are, but mainly some other bits in the Euros because they're going on at the moment. We'll have a quick look at Copa America if we want to, but that'll be about 5 seconds, so we're not touching on that. And then any other business. I think that's pretty much what we're going to do. Mainly focus on how shit England are, really. I think that's mainly the focus here, and the tactics are just woeful, in my opinion. But they've been like that for a long time. I think people are starting to wake up to this. Like, England have been playing this way for a good 2 or 3 years, and maybe longer. And the problem is, we only get found out when we play a decent team previously in history, and now we're getting found out against teams who realistically we should be beating. You know what I mean? And I think that's where the public are thinking, wait a minute, we should be beating Denmark and Iceland and things like this. Whereas before, we were getting away with it, and I think that was just covering it up. It was like you're covering up all those cracks by getting away with a 1-0 win against Iceland. The thing for me, there was a qualifier like a long time ago now. I'm going to go right back, mate. But it was against Poland, right? And I've probably said this before, but there was a qualifier against Poland. I'm just going to try and find out how far back it is, just to like tell people. Let's see. I'm going back all the way back here.
Way back when?
Where is it? 8th of September 2022. Right?
Yeah.
We play Poland away in a World Cup qualifier. And this was after the Euro final, where we all thought, Euro 2020 final, where we thought, okay, yeah, England lost on penalties, fair play, we got to the final, we convincingly beat Germany and Ukraine on the way to the final, fair enough, like we did okay. And then you go into World Cup qualifying, we beat Hungary, fair enough, Hungary weren't quite as good as they are now then, beat Andorra convincingly, which isn't hard.
You'd expect.
And then Poland away. This game the game was dull as fuck. Poland,
I remember,
aren't very good. This is what got me. We scored on 72 minutes through Harry Kane, right?
Yeah.
Immediately afterwards, Poland made 3 substitutions to change to a more attacking formation to try and get a point. Because they're at home. Gareth Southgate did nothing. The possession stats, if you look at it, Poland went from like not having the ball when we scored to immediately just pressing us like nothing until we were dead. And they scored an equaliser on a 92nd minute, and we still did not make any substitutions that entire match.
I mean,
played the same way we played yesterday, same formation, same 2 sit-in, same philosophy, different people in there. Mason Mount played the entire game. Like that just tells you something. But that is where I sort of looked at it and went, wait a minute, like if you score a goal on 72 minutes and then Poland make 3 substitutions like 5 minutes later to try and push the game at you, do you know what you do? You make more substitutions to kill the game off and take it back to them so they can't put on pressure. What they did for the last 15 minutes of the match since we scored was just bam, 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 until they eventually scored. It was the same as Denmark yesterday, really, weren't it? We scored, sit off, let them have the ball, then what? I
It just
mean,
seems.
the thing with that's his tactics, and it's been like that. That's 2020. Well, it was the 8th of September 2021. I lie. It wasn't 2022, so it's even longer ago. And it's been going on since then. Like,
Mm.
after that, we got beaten. We got beaten by Hungary, 1-0, 4-0, beaten by Italy. The last team that we beat that is in the top 20 that's from Europe is Switzerland in the 26th of March 2022. We haven't
It's
beaten a team in the top 20 of Europe since then. And that was 2-1 against Switzerland in a friendly. So
it's look, right. Nothing that you've said, I disagree with. So,
well, we beat Italy. They don't count, but yeah.
no, but yeah. But the thing is, right. I agree with you. So I'm just doing this to be devil's advocate, right? The one thing you've got to say, not his defense, but the one thing you've got to say about Gareth Southgate is regardless of how many years we've not done anything, well, since the World Cup 66, right? We've done nothing internationally. Like, it's embarrassing, really.
Yeah,
It should be like a full on inquest into the Football Association, really. However, they set out a plan over what the past, they set out like a 5-year plan to either win the World Cup or win the Euros, or maybe it was a little bit longer, it was maybe 10 years or something. And they've got to a quarter final, a final, and a semi final. He's our most successful manager since Sir Alf Ramsey. So you've got one thing I would say is, granted, it's dull, it's horrendous, and we're massively, massively underperforming. Say what you want about Southgate, but at the end of the day, people look at and glorify teams gone by, right? So every time we're at a tournament, this is probably our best team, barring when we went to the Euros when we got knocked out of Iceland, right? So that was just a calamity, right?
yeah.
But people are looking at this now and you go, oh, Foden, we've got Bellingham, we've got Kate, like. But if you just hear us out, right? Because then you look back and you look at like the Gerrard, the Scholes, the Beckhams, like they're, I would say, better players than some of the players in the team now. Yeah. Like they're icons, if you like, in the game, really, not just in England. And arguably better managers have done worse than Gareth Southgate. So the thing that so frustrates us now is why on earth he's so reluctant to just fucking go for it. He's got nothing to lose. Like he's so tactically inept. That's like I would never say like you've got more experience than me as in terms of levels of football that I played at. I played at Sunday League, right? So anybody can play Sunday League. You've obviously had like your semi-pros and you've got people in your family who've been professional footballers. So I would say you're probably more tactically or I would say you're probably more placed than me with your experience in just playing the game in general. To maybe have more of a valid opinion, right? But I wouldn't say I would take over as a club unless it was Football Manager, which I do want to talk to you about. And you can understand, like, I just don't get how he can sit there and everybody can see it but him. Or he can see it and he's either he doesn't care or he's terrified. And I'm probably thinking he's shit scared. He's terrified to do anything wrong. Why on earth is he playing Trent centre mid? He can pass a ball, but he's not passing. We kicked off yesterday. We kicked off yesterday. I'm arguing at you, not with you. We kicked off yesterday against Denmark, and I implore everybody to go back to Trent Alexander's first pass. It was a 5-yard pass that he had to make, and he passed overhit. The guy was next. It literally just kicked off. His first pass that he got, he passed it 5 yards and misplaced it.
This is where the manager comes in because, like we said, Trent is a fantastic right back, attacking right wing back, you could probably say, because the system that Liverpool play suits him down to a T. The system that England play doesn't really suit him. Let's put it this way. His passing ability is when he has time on the ball. If you're going to play him in midfield, you need a manager in there that's going to be able to motivate a player. This is like putting you or me in somewhere that we don't do, that we're uncomfortable in doing. He's clearly uncomfortable playing in midfield, right? And he's more you see it when we played in the friendly against Bosnia, sorry. The one we won 3-0.
3-0.
As soon as they moved him more to a right back position or that right wing attacking position, much more comfortable on the ball, gets himself a goal, like crosses come in, passing gets better. Like he just looked more comfortable. The problem that Southgate has got, he's shoehorned him in there because of his passing ability. Then he's got 3 players that are dropping deep for him, so he's actually got nowhere to pass it other than into space, and no one's chasing the ball. So, and also, I don't think he's motivated him enough. He looked like he had his head down, like you said. He's misplaced his first pass. That's not like him. If you played him for Liverpool, he will not misplace his first pass, will he? Because he's motivated to play that position and he feels comfortable and he's going into that game feeling comfortable. If he's uncomfortable going into a match playing in centre midfield where he's not used to being played, then at the end of the day, that's on the manager to say, like, lad, like, we know you're playing in your position that's not comfortable. We know you could do a job there, but you need to get his confidence up. Clearly, Trent's a confidence player, and like that's obvious from most people. So slating him isn't going to do anything because, let's be honest, he's playing out of position. It's like Foden as well. He's playing miles out of position, and when he tried to do something in that first half, especially when he came deep and collected the ball and tried to do something and did a bit of a mazy run, he looked a lot better then than just being shoehorned out on the left wing. Like,
but we can see it.
Do you know what Southgate did though? Took him off because he didn't listen to what he was telling him to do. Like that's. Yeah.
It's just the thing. It's like, so look, right? We're talking international level, and like I know, like we should be like reaching quarterfinals, semi-finals at least. Like we should. There's no as a footballing nation. There's no
target, haven't they, for England? Quarterfinals
have to be at least, right? And we can still do that. We can still reach the quarters, whatever, right? But it's the thing is, it's not like I feel like everybody's unified, like the press, the fans. I know people are digging out, like annoyed at the performances and the players, but nobody's giving up on them. Like everyone's just putting it in the place. It's like really harsh feedback to wake up and go. If you saw somebody repeatedly doing something wrong, you're bound to be frustrated with them. But I don't feel like it's what like I say, like years gone by where we're just picking out individual players and harassing them and hating on them. We're actually like generally the fan base, which is bizarre for England. You kind of just like change it. Like I'll come. Like I don't want, and this is what I wanted to do with you on this podcast and everybody listening, because everybody's talking about like everyone's got the answers and stuff, but I just want to point out what I think's like glaringly obvious in it being wrong, and suggest what I think might be beneficial to change. The problem at the minute, I just see it as like he's clearly put players in positions because he's terrified to drop one of them. He's took Trent Alexander. There's a few points I just want to make, so just bear with us. I don't know why, but my headphones have just decided to break. So if anyone feels like I'm stuttering, it's because I've got this tick, 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 tick in my ear. But one of the problems I see is and I'm not trying to plant ideas and make excuses or like suggest that there's any of this going on, but can you imagine being Conor Gallagher, Mainu, Wharton probably got the biggest move of like his career so far. Mainu's had like a burst onto the scene. Conor Gallagher, I don't massively rate him, but I think he's one of those midfielders who does like the horrible stuff well and runs and chases and puts a bit of press. All of them were. Let's be honest, all of them. Nobody's shone. Apart from who I think's putting better standout player, Gay. He's been brilliant, absolutely class.
I don't. That they said he had a mistake and recovered for that goal, but the pass to him from
it was shocking.
Was a hospital ball. Like he couldn't do much with that.
But just looking at the team and stuff now and the way we're playing, Like if you're one of those three players and you're looking at it going, Trent Alexander, nobody thinks he's a bad player. He's got his flaws. He's not really a defender.
Despite all the people
This
shouting
is
about him and trying to oust him, which I think is disgusting because
he's
he's
an
doing what
elite.
he's been
Like
told by the manager. Like at the end of the day,
this is an elite level. This is like the epitome of football. Like I mean, I know the World Cup and you can argue Champions League, but like international level, this is meant to be the best of the best. And we're forcing a right back to play centre mid. It's
play
like,
him right back.
what what are we doing? Like why is he experimenting?
But you look against
in the group stages of a European tournament. Like, what is he thinking?
But you look against
and then sorry. And the other thing I wanted to say is just like, so I feel sorry for Trent, like, because what's he meant to do? And then you alluded to it, right? He's got Foden, Bellingham, and Kane, all three of them like that intricate pass turn and then have a run, and then apart from Harry Kane, who comes in deep as well. Saka's I don't rate Saka personally. I don't think he's as good as he makes out, but poor lad, he's doing his job that he needs to. And he's the only player who seems to be doing something that against Southgate, because I saw a stat this morning and it said for 15 minutes, right, after we scored the goal until they scored, they looked at our average position of players. Harry Kane was left wing. Everybody was either behind the D of the halfway line, and Saka was far out on the right. And he's the only option that we've had, and it's telling because he's the only person getting at people. So you've got Foden, Bellingham, Kane, all coming deep on top of the two midfielders, these two hold midfielders. The defenders can't play out. The wing backs aren't moving forward because Kyle Walker's terrified to go forward. And the one time he did, we scored.
It was a terrible pass, by the way.
I know. And Trippier, again, he's not. But he's playing. And
out of position.
I'd love to dig out a Newcastle player. Or just any time, but like he's a right-footed left back.
He's not had a good season. Even Newcastle fans will tell you that. But then even Man City fans don't rate Kyle Walker.
But people are digging him out. People are digging out Kyle Walker. What I say, we're digging him out. We're not. We're just criticising him for not trying something. But he's a right back. He doesn't feel confident and comfortable enough to go, right, I'm going to take it on my left foot and try and get down the wing. Because he fears he's going to lose it, so it comes back inside. So literally, we've got Foden, Kane, Trippier, and Bellingham all in a box, and nobody going on.
Basically.
Nothing.
We don't have a left wing.
We can, but there's Anthony, and again, just to show I'm not biased. Anthony Gordon's got pace to burn, and he'll stick to the byline, and he'll give Trippier an out ball every time over the top, and Harry Kane can come in, and he can maybe knock it to him. Trent could knock it to him. So
that's where you argue with Trent being a right back, because him and Saka would work wonders on that right hand side. Because also he can do that cross-field pass to Gordon as well.
It's an out ball.
And he feels more comfortable, and he'll have more time on the ball rather than being in midfield. When we've got midfielders sat on the bench who can play in midfield,
we must be so easy to defend against, and it's mad because you look at the technical players that we've got.
You got a three in midfield who are starting on the pitch but in wrong positions. Bellingham should drop back to 8. Foden should be 10, and then Declan Rice as the sitter in 6. Anthony Gordon out on the wing, Saka out on the other wing. I'm still not sure on Harry Kane. If we want to press, I'm not sure about him. He needs to be told to stay up top. If he's told to drop deep.
The thing is, he did that in the first game. Yeah. And he touched the ball twice.
Yeah, but then it doesn't matter if he scores. He's a striker.
But he didn't, or did he?
I know he didn't score, but then we didn't get the ball to him.
But then the one time he was in the box against Denmark, he was there. He scored.
Yeah.
I just think the whole thing.
A little bit.
Yeah, like he's picked players thinking these will get us out of a dodgy situation. But I agree with the entire team that you said there. Everybody's crying out for Rice and Bellingham. They don't have to be. They don't even have to be like the pivots. You could just play Declan in front and then
Rice
just have
as the sitter, and then let Bellingham run up and down like a fucking workhorse, like he does.
But then you look at
but that's too adventurous for him. Like that is far too. He always likes having 2 sat.
I just think. Can you imagine that? Right?
You sat against like bloody Andorra. I reckon he would.
Genuinely, if he's not careful and he does, so the problem he's got now is
Slovenia are
that
probably one of the better sides in our group as well. Denmark didn't look great in the first game.
no. The problem he's got now is the team that he could have maybe experimented, and he had the little bit of wiggle room where, worst case scenario, he tries something, we get beat. We've still got like Slovenia, which we should beat. Let's be honest.
Oh, we should, yeah.
But now he can't. He can't change the team too much, because if we get beat, I know like there's a lot can go wrong. That'd have to go wrong for us not to qualify. But if we get beat off Slovenia, I think we go out in the next round, because I just think the pressure will be too much for the players.
Played Germany,
So
didn't we?
he's now
Probably
he's
22nd.
got. I don't. Why has he took Luke Shaw? There must have been another left footer that we could have taken. God, there must have been like in half decent left back just to balance your side.
Well, even you have to think though. Even Joe Gomez has played better at left back this year for Liverpool when he's needed to. He's not a left back, but he's there. Like
maybe he said, "I don't want to play left back. I'd rather not play than play left back."
he played.
I mean, I'm not suggesting he has.
Yeah, he played left back a few times. I mean,
but
the back anywhere across the back four basically.
But again, the back four picks itself because there's nobody else. Pickford's always good, and Pickford's been good. Like he's.
Well, if you want Trent to play, you play him right back for his passing ability. And him and Saka will link up, and he'll play more forward passes.
He's got to sacrifice one of his front 3 or 4. He's got to. He got it. Like Ollie Watkins come on, and it was mad. The first 5 minutes, he ran twice in behind and stretched the defenders, and you could tell Vestergaard was shitting himself because he was like, "Oh Christ, I've got to run."
That's where you want Trent on the pitch. That's the problem. Like he's running in behind. And you've taken off. But then you want him right back on the pitch, because he will hit those diagonals and into space into the wings for those people to run onto.
Put it this way, right? I know he contributed to the goal, and I like Kyle Walker because I do think his pace gets you out of a shit situation.
Well,
but really,
could he play left back?
Not just. Is he so good to keep Trent Alexander out of the team of right back?
No,
not really.
Not really. People always say that Trent, this myth that around Trent not being able to defend is an absolute bullshit. Like he's consistently played for right back for Liverpool and won every competition there is at club level. If he couldn't defend as a right back, he wouldn't be starting there.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like,
I think you look at the Liverpool back four. If you look at the Liverpool back four, which is Trent, they play to his strengths, because you've got Van Dijk, and then you've had Matip, you've had Konate, and then Robertson.
John Stones plays. He could do that in behind. Gay could probably cover for him as well, which is quite. Also, you could always do like where you could, because John Stones, like they were saying last night, stepping out into midfield, he doesn't do that. When we're attacking though, Trent will be up the pitch. Is that then? What used to happen with like when there was a defensive midfield for Liverpool, the defensive midfielder would sort of cover or screen in behind, whether that was James Milner, Jordan Henderson, John Matip. Well, no, what's his face? I forgot. He's gone to But anyway, like they would screen in behind him, so when he went forwards, because if you got a marauding wing back playing right back, then he's gonna get forwards. But you want him to be forwards, otherwise you're not going to score a goal. So it's about mitigating that. And when the break up a play, he'll get back into position, and he's fine when he's in position. I just don't get this myth. I think it's just been made up by people who are trying to make shit up. To be honest, like you see Kyle Walker defending sometimes, he's got pace, but when he's 1-on-1, or like yesterday, he tackled someone, gave the ball away, and then gave away a foul within all the same second. And you think, also, he gets found out as well. Like, it's not like every defender doesn't, like, make mistakes. I just think it's a bit silly, like, picking on one player and saying that thing, because, it doesn't make sense.
So
multiple things happen.
So if we look at Slovenia, right, the game that we've got coming up, I don't think he's going to change that much. I think the only person he really changes is if he's going to make 2 substitutions, one will be Trent is dropped for Conor Gallagher or maybe Mainu.
This is
Probably Conor Gallagher, and he's probably going to drop Foden as well.
Yeah, and this is my issue with Gareth Southgate's changes and substitutions. So when he does make them, they're always like for like. He doesn't.
Yeah.
He doesn't do anything that changes the game tactically to push the game in one direction. So when he's taken Trent off on 54 minutes yesterday, he put on Conor Gallagher as a like for like because we needed more energy. Right, that's great. You want more energy in there, but you're not tactically changing anything. You're still asking Conor Gallagher to do the same job what Trent was doing, but just run around a little bit more. Like you're not. And then he hasn't
taken a Trent off and put Gordon on.
Yeah.
To like push us up the pitch. Just
why not do that? Why not then play 2 in midfield and go, push on like that way? But yeah, it's bizarre that he can't tactically change a game. Like he has to do like for like substitutions. So that's when we bought Eze, Bowen and Watkins on, Cole Palmer and Gordon were never going to come on then because he'd already made his 2 wingers substitutions, and if he was going to take someone off, it would be Eze or Bowen. Like you cannot physically not take someone off who's exactly playing in the same position as one of the others.
I suppose the only argument you could have made is maybe Palmer could have come on for Bellingham. Bellingham looked like he didn't even look like he was on the pitch.
I think he looked quite pissed off, to be honest, the whole game.
Yeah.
But then the thing is, though, Harry Kane was literally just playing on his feet. Like he was.
I don't get what Kane
got so deep.
Kane's just not trying.
Though, when we were struggling, when Denmark were pressing us, great that Harry Kane's getting back and tackling and winning the ball. But if he's winning the ball, where's our outlet? Who are we kicking the ball up to? Who can hold the ball up?
5 yards away.
But when we did kick the ball up to him to hold it up, he just lost the ball immediately or ran into like 4 defenders when there was an easy pass on. Like just retain possession. Don't lose it immediately in our own half. Like it seems like he didn't know what to do. He was confused.
That's the thing. They didn't look like they knew what to do. And do you know what it was? And everybody's made the same comparison. And by no means am I like trying to disrespect Denmark because like they've got some good players. Let's be honest, they have. They've got people, and they're a unit to play. I would say they're a good side. They're a difficult team to break down. And you make the point, which I think is the overarching thing from that game yesterday, is they didn't know what to do. And it was just reeked of Iceland again, because Iceland was a game where the players were just in total like disarray. They just didn't know what to do. They were shooting from everywhere. Not that like I'm not making comparisons of how we played in the game, but it just the general aura of the game. I was watching it, and from the first 10 minutes, I turned to my wife and I said, like, she likes football as well. She watches it. She had season ticket and stuff, so it's not like she was just watching a game for the first time. And she said, like, I went, "What do you think?" And she was like, "What do you mean?" I was like, "The first 10 minutes this game has gone on. What's your thoughts?" And she was like, "Slow, boring." I was like, "Right, okay. What about the way we're playing?" She's like, "There's no intent. Like we just don't like want to attack." And she's not like in like us. Like we're trying like reading things. You read the press. You're on Twitter. Just seeing. She was just generally sat down, watched this game, and she was like looking at it. And I was like, "What's your thoughts?" And she was just like, "Why we're not like we're just not trying to attack. Like we're just sat passing the ball backwards." And I'm like. So in 10 minutes, she's seen exactly what was happening. And Gareth Southgate's been with that team of players for fucking God knows how long. And it's mind bending, because I just feel like now you look at the stubbornness in that way of playing, where it's clearly not working. He just looks like a man who's not bothered. He'd rather die on his way of playing, which is, and again, it links to, I really fear for us, not because I feel like, oh God, we're not going to win it. I know we're not going to win it. I never went into this thinking we're going to win it. I just thought, fucking hell, it'd be nice to see these players play together at a tournament.
2021,
the fact
so.
he came out at the end of the game, and I think it's like viral now, but like he was saying, like for 7 or 8 years, it's been an issue, that position, and we haven't been able to replace Calvin Phillips.
Yeah.
Calvin Phillips.
Yeah.
Barely played a minute for Man City.
Wait a minute. but he's got a natural defensive midfielder in Declan Rice. You don't need to.
Well,
If you got the best attacking or some of the best individually, I don't say they play as a team, but attacking players in world football, why do you need 2 sit-in players? Why don't you take a game to a team? That's the only way you're going to beat the better nations, is taking the game to them.
Why? And why don't we just
won
fucking attack the
6-4
competition?
Lose 1-0 to Iceland.
Oh, I know. Like I looked at, you know what it is like. And I know he was ousted at Man United, but like I look at Ralph Rangnick and the way he had Austria playing is like that's exactly what we need. I'm not saying I'll go and get him, but like we've got players that, and it's so obvious, right? We're such a lucky nation filled with like really talented world class players, and it's just we've got a manager who's terrified to drop one of them.
Yeah.
Like everybody knows the team should be Luke Shaw if he's fit, but he's not. So you've got to play Trippier or select another player who's played left back with a left foot to give you balance before you go to a fucking tournament, maybe. However, let's just move past that. Trippier, Gahey, who's been class, Stones. I'd personally choose Walker because I just think when we do lose the ball, we'll need his pace. But I would have him in the team as right back because I would only play Rice. I'd play a 4-4-1, but obviously that'd vary in terms of like in possession, out of possession. You'd have Rice as your holding centre mid, who could fill in at centre half as your 2 wing backs push up a little bit, and then in the midfield in front of him, glaringly obvious that you would have Bellingham and Foden playing together because that's how they like to play. I'd still play Kane, but I'd have Saka and Gordon on the wings. So when he does drop in, you've got Bellingham and Foden who can bomb on. You've got Gordon and Saka who can stretch it and cut in. And then at least you've got maybe 3 people bombing forward in Gordon, Saka, and either Bellingham or Foden who's doing the pivot. Kane can come in and then you've stretched the defence. How is he not looking at that team and going, that's what I should do? He's so defensive minded. And the thing is, what's mad is, if he was going to play this way, why is he fucking taking 3 strikers?
Yeah.
Why? What is the point in Tony being there for like a penalty shootout? I genuinely think he's took Tony because he thinks if I've got a penalty shootout, I'll bring Tony on. That's the only reason he's there. And Ollie Watkins, right?
Is thinking around that.
And fair enough, right? I like Harry Kane, and I think you've got to play him. He's an all-time like goal scorer, blah 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 blah. He scored loads of goals. He's always going to score goals, right? But in the next game, that's the team you need to play because that's the team that's going to progress us through. And I'd rather see them lose and go for a game than sit and watch fucking Trent Alexander-Arnold, Declan Rice, Foden, Bellingham, Kane stand in the fucking centre half spot and just not know what to do, and Saka wave his arms going, I'm over here. Yeah. Just fucking play that team, but he's not going to. He's going to rest. He's going to rest Bellingham because he thinks we're going to go through. He'll maybe
that's the
swap out Trent Alexander-Arnold, and he's probably going to drop Foden.
Yeah.
When really all you need to do is play them 3 as your spine: Rice, Bellingham, Foden.
And you have to think with the Trent thing as well. Like when he plays right back, you see what he does. Like against Bosnia and Iceland when he came on, he only had 15 minutes or something, but he actually created more chances in those 15 minutes from right back than anyone on the pitch for the whole game.
Do you think as well, just to make a point
for when we're playing teams like Slovenia, surely you want to be taking the game to them. All 3 of these teams, we should have taken the game to them. So it doesn't matter if you haven't got... Well, you've still got 2 centre-backs who are quite capable of doing defensive cover. And you've got Declan Rice. So you don't need...
Between Gahey and the Stones, surely against fucking Denmark, you can go man for man.
Yeah, you can easily. And you've got Declan Rice cleaning up. So you don't need...
It's just...
You don't need 4... people to sit back against teams like this. Maybe if you're playing like a Germany where they might have a lot more of the ball, but Germany have got an identity. You watch them play; they play like a Bundesliga team.
Yeah. Yeah.
And you think France don't. They're a good side, but they play like more of a Real Madrid. But then, like you think like with England, should they not play to their strengths and how all these players play week in week out, which is that more pressing, like gung ho, controlling the game football? Because that's what they used to. Why don't you set up and play to their strengths? I don't. Yeah.
But
Also,
you can
when he
tell.
takes, I find it hilarious. Like Real Madrid don't take Bellingham off because he scores. He could be non-existent the entire game and then score a winner in the 93rd minute. Gareth Southgate loves taking him off. He really does. He thinks, oh yeah, we're drawing. Oh, I'll just take Bellingham. Why are you doing that? He will literally be dog shit for the entire game and he'll score an absolute worldie in the 93rd minute. He's
No.
like that. Like he's
a maverick though. Like
yeah. But then that's why
him and
Gareth
Foden shouldn't be
Southgate
off
doesn't
that
know what
pitch.
to do with him because Southgate is not. He's never been a top level manager at club level, so he doesn't know that intricacies. Like we said, the last team he managed outside of England was Middlesbrough.
Yeah.
That was a time when football was a bit more pragmatic and you needed to play a bit more defensively to try and grind out results. Football has changed a lot in terms of club football since 2009, I think it was the last time. Was it 2009 or 2009?
2000, wasn't it? I can't remember, but I get you. I know your point.
Yeah. It's changed a lot in that last, and he's still playing the same way in that sort of formation. He's trying to be pragmatic and grind out results, but when you're playing teams, that's fine if you're playing a team that's better than you, right? But if you're playing a team that you should realistically not steamroll, but control the game against and have plenty of shots and like Spain have been doing, they've been playing really well and surprisingly well.
Yeah,
like,
they were really good.
And like things like this, they're set up to control the game. Germany are set up to control the game. We're set up to.
I don't know what we are. I
set
do
up to
nothing because
defend
we're not
against Denmark. We're set up to defend against Denmark. We're set up to defend against Serbia. Like
that's it. Like there's
negative.
no
and
other.
That's why the players are confused because they don't play this way week in week out. No wonder they're confused because they've had a couple of weeks of training to play a completely different system that they have no idea how they play because they don't play this. No, I don't think any of the players play this system. Maybe that's why Jay's shining because I don't know if Palace play this system. I hadn't looked into Palace too much, but like, you know what I mean?
Palace have been really good since the new manager. But the point is, right, that you're right. Like, and there's a thing, like, I want to get away from like it's like the differentiation between the two because there is between a style of play, like a tactical style of play and an identity. We've got neither. I'm not saying we've got one or the other, but the problem we have is tactically, we're not set up to be defensive. Like, hear us out though. We're not defensive because like you would have more like big, strong kind of players to kind of break, like to take the brunt of the game. We're not a counter-attacking team because we haven't got any outlet. We're not like a gegenpress because we've got Harry Kane leading the press and he doesn't. And it's like we're not like an attacking team because we're not a possession-based team because we don't keep possession.
Yeah, I think we.
It's like, so what are we doing? And that's where like apparently Harry Kane come out and said that along the lines of like he didn't know what they were doing.
Yeah.
And then you've got Kyle Walker at the end of the game going like, "Oh, we're still top of the group," and this, that, and the other. Fuck the group. Like we shouldn't even be thinking about the group. And I know, like again, you've got to beat what's in front of you. But like realistically, this group, we should have went into that thing and right, we go through this, we get a couple of wins, and then we kind of build the momentum. There's nothing. Yeah. If anything, we still haven't recovered from Iceland. That like the Iceland friendly there before the thing, and I would even go as far back and say we are still suffering from the Euro final against Italy. I feel like we're still trying to defend that lead. I think he's still trying to defend that game.
Yeah, we're still suffering from that. We're suffering for any time we play a half decent side, to be honest. Like France did us, same sort of thing, weren't it? And then, yeah.
The last time I think I saw us play like actually quite well, and I enjoyed the game, was when we played Brazil. We got beat in that game, and the young Hendrick scored.
Class player, isn't he?
But I left that game thinking, that's Brazil. It's like, fine. Like, at least we pushed and pressed them and stuff like that. Like, all of that's gone. And I don't know.
One of the last games I think we played very, very well. Do you remember the 3-3 draw with Germany in the Nations League?
Oh, yeah. Yeah. That was a good game. But fucking hell, like, look how far back that was.
Yeah, September 2022. That was, yeah.
It's just if any other manager had reached a quarterfinal, not in order, obviously, quarterfinal, semi-final, and a final, you'd think, Jesus, like he's really unlucky. But you look at it now and you just think, what? Like we've proved we can do it when we're not playing very well.
I think if we play like that against Slovenia, I genuinely
think
we'll lose. Purely because Slovenia are a good side. We'll underestimate them because everyone will be like, "Oh, it's Slovenia." They beat Portugal in a friendly warm-up.
You got to be careful looking into friendlies, because look at Scotland's run in before, but like
they're performing pretty well. They were unlucky not to win.
Aye, last kick of the game, wasn't it? But that's the thing. Like, I just them teams there are playing with a better mentality than we are. They're coming in and they're going, "We're going to take these games." Every team that's come into this tournament has come in and went, "We need to press. We need to get at the opposition to get in front."
Yeah,
we're the only team that's literally seems to have come and went, right, let's be really methodical. Let's be really like reserved. Let's try and conserve energy. Like, as a mentality. And then I just don't think you can underestimate. Like, at first, like, it's raw and stuff. And if we forget that we haven't lost that game, but you just, I think that's that result last night. And I say the result, not the result, the performance was as bad as the feeling that were when we got knocked out of Iceland.
So.
It's as bad as that. It's Kyle. Sorry, just before you make that point, Kyle Walker interview straight after the match, emotions are running high and stuff. The fact that he thinks it's okay, he's like, "Oh, the boys are in there, and we know we can do better, but sometimes we don't want to commit because we don't want to." They've just lack belief.
But you're saying teams don't beat. I thought the funny thing was when he said like teams don't steamroll teams anymore, and you don't win by 3 or 4 goals. Is he forgetting that we beat Bosnia 3-0? Also, he plays for Man City, and they fucking steamroll teams. But like week in, week out. The thing I'm worried about against Slovenia,
look at Germany.
Germany
did it.
Benjamin Sesko, right? Purely because if we stand off Slovenia like we did against Denmark, and no disrespect to Denmark, they scored a worldie. Yeah, they don't do that every week. He does that every week. If you give him space on the edge of the box, he will wrap his right foot around that and put it top corner. Like, if you stand off him, like we have been standing off players, he's got the ability to score that. And that's where I worry. Like, if we play the same way and stand off, he'll bag himself a couple of goals. Like, out of nothing, and then we'll be like, "Oh shit, what do we do now?" Because that's what Southgate does. When it isn't going his way, he panics, and then he has no idea how to change the game positively in our favour.
So on that note, right? Because I know us, like, we could keep digging them out and stuff. Yeah, like we are. Let's be honest. But do you think, right? So let's do 2 teams, and I'll ask you.
Yeah.
I want you to pick the team that you think Southgate will play and the team that you think he should play. So,
So I
back
think
to front, let's just go through it. So, the team, first of all, Southgate, what do you expect them to play against
Southgate,
Slovenia? In goal,
Pickford,
right back,
Kyle Walker,
centre halves,
Gay and Stones,
left back.
Trippier.
He's going to play 2 hold midfielders, right?
Yeah, it's going to be Gallagher and Rice.
Yeah.
Bellingham in
Who's
front
the
of
front?
him.
Yeah.
And then either Gordon or Foden, Kane and Saka.
Yeah. Okay. I would agree. I think he
That's what he's going to do. He's going to drop. He's going to drop, like you said, he's going to drop Trent or Foden as scapegoats. If he had balls,
and this is the team that we're saying
he would play.
We were manager. We would pick.
Yeah, he would. I think Pickford's fine. He gives a lot. I think he's probably the most. To be fair, he's as a goalkeeper, he's the most passionate player out of a lot of them. Like you would.
He hammers his defenders all the time.
Yeah, but that's good though, isn't it? When as a goalkeeper, you want someone to be really vocal and controlling and a bit of a nutter. So I think it's fine. Like Pickford's fine.
Mm-hmm.
Left back's a problem. If Luke Shaw's fit, you play him there.
Mm-hmm.
Gay and Stones is fine. I would probably pick Trent for progressive passes and his combination with Saka and pushing the ball up. I'm going attacking here. Like that's why I would pick him right back. You would pick maybe. Well, it's a toss up there. If you want to go attacking, you pick Trent. If you want to go pragmatic, you pick Kyle Walker.
Yeah.
Then you play Rice just in front of the back four.
Mm-hmm.
Bellingham as the 8, Foden as 10, Anthony Gordon on the wing, Saka on the other wing, and then if you want balls in behind, you play Harry Kane for 60 minutes, and then you bring on Ollie Watkins for the last 30.
Yeah. I think I would, basing it off like just what I've seen so far, the only position that I'd really think I'm struggling with is whether I take a gamble on Watkins or Tony over Harry Kane, just because I think I've got to keep Kane in the team, just because I think he will score. He will score.
60 minutes because he looks knackered. Like after it gets about even less than that, you say to him, "Look, mate, we're bringing you off at half time. You're fucking blowing out your ass. Like we're bringing." You score a goal in the first half, great. We're bringing you off at half time. We're giving one of the boys that can actually run. Like,
so I'm gonna so I agree with your team.
Yeah.
I think the only tweaks I would maybe make and maybe be talked into or mulling over, but that's the team I would go with. Same back four, Trent as the right back, Rice, same midfield pairing, and your front three. The only thing I would be maybe mulling over is going against Slovenia. I want to stretch them as much as I can, so I might drop Kane just because he hasn't ran. He looks exhausted, but he hasn't done anything.
That's what I'm thinking. Like, if you could, like I said, if you're a ballsy manager against Slovenia, you would say to Harry Kane, "I'm taking you off at half time." Before the game's even started, you would say to him, "You're getting the first half, score your goal, great. But if you stifle us, I'll take you off." And then
absolutely.
Ollie Watkins is going to be running down that line like a fucking headless chicken, waiting to come on.
But that's what I'd be saying. Ollie Watkins,
you need balls to do that, and I don't think he has them.
No, he hasn't. It's his mate, isn't it? It's Harry. But then I'll just if I was him now, like as a manager, I'd just do the same thing. I'd be like, Ollie, when you come on, all I'm going to ask you to do is you don't come short for the ball.
Run into those lines.
You bring the defender with you, and then you burn just like you do for Villa. All I'm asking you to do is do it consistently. Don't stop doing it. You'll get frustrated, but one of these balls will get through to you eventually.
Will find you. Especially if you've got Trent on right back, he will ping a pass over that defender's head, and he's through. If he's at right back,
I'd tell Gordon. I'd say to Gordon exactly the same. He doesn't have to pin the defense like the right back down just because he's got the pace to get behind. I would just say every time it's in the right hand side of that ball, make that run. Just stretch this team as far as you can. Saka, and I would just say Saka to do exactly as it are because he's pushing on the right hand side and then he's coming in. And I would just say the same to Harry Kane. You get the ball and you turn and you find one of them two, and then you get up the pitch as quick as you can.
Or
don't worry about Bellingham. Don't worry about Foden. Don't worry about Rice. Get up the pitch as quick as you can.
Yeah, with Harry Kane as well, you want him, if we are under the cosh, you want him to stay on the halfway line as an outlet. Hold the ball up, but then that's where you have those pace merchants. If you've got Saka and Gordon either side of him, say we're struggling to get the ball out of defence, hoof it up, Harry Kane holds up the ball, Saka and Gordon bomb on, he just has to play it into the wings, and they will chase it. And then we're already out of pressure. But what's happening at the moment, there's no one bombing on because we're all condensed. Harry Kane's condensed. So what we're doing is just booting it back to their centre-backs. And they're like, great, let's start again because they're not pressing us. So like we could just pass the ball around here. It's like we're playing against an old England team. Like, because that's how the old England team used to play. Pass it around to the back, find space. Now we're not even controlling possession. We're getting controlled ourselves. But yeah,
he's got to change it. He can't just. I think if he takes Foden off, but the biggest thing, right, that we don't do, and we haven't done in England, in international level, is when somebody receives the ball in the middle of the park, nobody gets it, turns and drives forward, and we've arguably got three of the best players who do that. I'd say the best player at that might be, at the minute, Rodri. I mean, he doesn't maraud forward, if you know what I mean, but he can get the ball off a centre half and then move up the pitch, is what I mean. You've got Wharton, who's been doing it, Maynard, who's doing it, but then you've got fucking Bellingham and Foden, who will come for the ball, turn, and play a forward pass. Bellingham, the case in point, first time we had a striker who ran in behind, or somebody running behind, not just a striker. Bellingham played it forward, Watkins run onto it, and he had a shot on target.
Yeah.
70 odd minutes, and you're like thinking, fuck me, like where's this been for the other like 100 and something, 150 minutes that we played? It's so obvious. And that's what's so frustrating. It's so obvious that we've got the players, we've got the talent to do it. Just fucking trust them, let them do it.
Yeah,
they're big boys, let them do it.
With him, I think it is stubbornness, but then it's also with Southgate. This is stubbornness, but also I don't think he knows any other way to play. I genuinely just don't think he does. Like I don't think he doesn't. He's stubborn. He doesn't have the balls to do it if he did know how to do it. But I don't think I don't think he could coach attacking football.
He doesn't. But the thing is, he doesn't need to. All he needs to say is,
but he needs to be able, he needs to have the knowledge to be able to set him up in that way in the first place, and I don't think he could.
But he must have something about him to look at that team and just think, it's like it's more than just the handbrake. He's got his foot on the brake, the handbrake on, and left the car in gear. It's like fucking, I just want to make sure that we don't roll away here. It's like, what more can you do? I am more away. Like, I don't want to fucking Jesus wept, man. But on that note, mate, let's take a breath.
Indeed.
Let's go for a short break, and then we can look in
touch on some other bits other than England.
Other bits other than fucking England.
Sounds good, mate.
And welcome back to England at the Euros. Bloody hell!
There's a reason why I'm wearing an Argentina shirt, isn't it? Like...
So let's move away from England. Let's dive into the world of the Copa Americano.
Indeed. So yeah, the Copa America is taking place at the same time as the Euros, if anyone knew that. It kicked off yesterday. Yesterday, wasn't it? Yeah.
I think so, yeah.
It's in the US of A. Essentially, it's sort of a test for a prelude to the World Cup in a couple of years, I guess. But yeah, so all 10 CONMEBOL teams are in there. So your Argentinas, your Brazils, your Chile, and then 6 teams from CONCACAF are also in there. USA as host, Canada, Costa Rica, Panama, Mexico, and Jamaica. So yeah, it's kicked off. One match has been played. That's why I'm wearing this. Argentina 2, Canada 0. Like,
yeah.
What do you reckon? Do you reckon... Because obviously in World Cup qualifying, Brazil have been a bit sketchy so far. What do you think? What's your predictions? Let's throw out there. Who do you reckon will win the Copa America? Do you know much about South American football or?
No, like I just know it's very it can be volatile some of the time.
It's in the US, so
I would argue you've got to expect Argentina to win it. They've got to be going into that as the favourites.
yeah, I would say so. I would say Argentina are probably the favourites. They had a bit of a touch and go first half against Canada, and to be fair to Canada, they're not pushovers, are they? So like they had,
No,
it was
they've got some good players.
It was a decent start. They had a decent start to the game, but I don't think. Yeah, you can't look past Argentina. Brazil have been really struggling. They're currently 6th in the World Cup qualifying group.
Jeez.
Which they've lost to Argentina, to be fair, and Peru, bizarrely. So that's a bit worrying for them. Oh no, they beat Peru. Sorry, who did they lose to? They lost to Uruguay, Colombia, and Argentina. So not too bad, but they only beat Peru 1-0. But yeah, Argentina, you could argue. Mexico are dog shit now. USA have got Greg Berhalter back, so they've got no hope. They lost 5-1 to Colombia recently as well. So yeah, Argentina, Uruguay may have a bit of a push for it. But yeah, it's going to be. I think it's pretty cut and dry, the Copa America, to be honest.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know what the potential matches can be, but I like when like Ecuador just kick the. I mean, I don't know if they're in this.
They are, yeah. They all qualify automatically.
Yeah,
so there's only 10. So
just Ecuador kick the shit out of everybody. They're just really brutal.
Yeah.
So, it'd be fun to see some of the games and some of the matchups. Like, I wouldn't mind seeing Argentina, Brazil game.
Yeah. I imagine Ecuador will win their group. They've got Venezuela, who've had a bit of resurgence, Jamaica, and an underperforming Mexico. So I imagine Ecuador.
Yeah, I think Mexico have always seemed to be got 1 or 2 or 3 wonder kids.
Not now.
And then they've just disappeared.
They've lost them all. Yeah. They've lost their talisman in their 900-year old goalkeeper in Ochoa.
Yeah. Who did he sign for? Did he go to Arsenal? Did he sign for Arsenal? Was it him? I'm sure he played for Arsenal, didn't he?
He played for Malaga for a bit.
Oh no, I'm thinking of somebody else.
Different. I think there's a couple with the same surname. I think we're talking about 38-year-old Guillermo Ochoa.
Mind.
Yeah.
Well,
exactly. But yeah.
Well, we'll see. But we'll keep. You can be our Copa America correspondent, because no doubt the next week's pod will probably either be praising Southgate for being the bravest man on the planet and finally admitting he was wrong, or stating the obvious again. However, what I do want to shout out as well, Matt, is it's now 123 days since Sunderland AFC had a manager. We still don't have a manager. Every manager we went for has either turned us down because they didn't want to work with Christian Speakman, or they've went elsewhere. And we've been linked with the QPR manager, and because he's got £1 million release that we'd have to pay, people have been saying, we've been linked with everyone. Lampard, every manager that's out of work we've went for, and then today it's breaking that the Lorient manager, who has been relegated with Lorient and has over 2 seasons a 30% win rate, is the favourite. And the rumour is that the reason it's taken so long to appoint a manager is because of a work permit, not because Liam Rosenier turned us down, not because Will Still turned us down, not because is it Statori who's at
face, isn't it?
Ajax turned us down. And 2 weeks ago we were told appointment was imminent. It's now 2 weeks and nothing's happened, and we weren't rushing to appoint a manager. We were going to appoint the right manager, and that's why Michael Dodd's got the job for such a long time. However, it's now been 123 days, and we still don't have a manager. That's almost, well, it is. It's a third of a year managerless.
So it could potentially be Regis Lebris.
It is. Regis Lebris. Not great, but
sounds like a holiday destination in France rather than a person.
he's going to be French in it. To be fair, it sounds about right because he's cheap, he's out of work, and he's going to not want to bring any backroom staff because that seems to be a stumbling block. But
yeah.
On that note, mate, because we can't leave a podcast without it being miserable for us, so here we are at the end of European hell and Sunderland unemployable managers.
And Danny Rose loving it on ITV. So like,
I mean, he looks good. Let's be honest. I look at him and I'm just like, man, what could have been? But never mind. But on that note, mate, let's leave it for this week, and I'll catch you again next week. And thanks again, everybody, for listening. And drop everybody Southgate if you're listening, because I know you're an avid listener of this podcast.
Take it easy, guys.
Bye, everyone.
Bye.